speak a bit of waffle for us so the mic's working. Right, welcome to just a quick convo. Today we're welcomed by Dan Kemp.
Good to see you, mate.
Kempy, thanks for joining us, mate.
Welcome.
We have got a special guest today behind the camera. Jake Young, if you want to just...
Looking behind the camera.
Not sure about that.
Self-proclaimed
Yeah.
best looking in the EFL. Shambles. Hopefully Young, you can give us some of his input today. I would hold my breath, but...
Yeah. Not too much, hopefully.
Yeah. So, our relationship, or friendship...
Yeah.
So won't be after
Friendship,
that.
mate.
Friendship began, 8 or 9 months ago. Start of the season, I joined Stevenage on a loan basis. You joined on a permanent basis. Since then, we've got to know each other quite well. Spent quite a lot of time together. Brief introduction of your footballing journey came through at Chelsea and West Ham, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And since then, I've played for a few more clubs across England. How would you say your footballing journey in particular has helped shape you into the person you are today?
I'd say, obviously, as you say, obviously starting at Chelsea and West Ham, obviously building relationships from a young age. Been also at a lot of clubs during my time already at 26. I played for a lot of teams, so I think I've met a lot of people. And I've always been a big advocate of putting myself out there and trying to meet new people, trying to obviously meeting you recently, making friends and stuff. I think being in that environment from a young age, being around a lot of people has brought out my personality, and I'm a people's person, I like to be around people, and I think that helps with my character and learning about different scenarios, about different characters, and how football works is you're all around different people. You might not be friends outside of football, but you're forced to live with people and adapt about how they are. So I think more just meeting new people and
the social aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. Coming into work each day and being with your friends and stuff, as well as obviously loving playing football. There's a joy to come to work to meet your friends, really.
We've had a conversation before about you maybe thinking that you've found a home or a place that you're going to play for the next 3, 4, 5 years, and excel your career, and for whatever reason at times it hasn't quite materialised. When your expectations sort of go out the window and it's the fan a bit, how have you managed to recenter and adjust and move on to the next stage in your career with the same drive, even though you might be disappointed or a bit gutted about how something has worked out or panned out?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Obviously, throughout my career, I think, other than maybe my youth career, I've never been someone in my professional career for longer than 6 months to a year. Yeah. Every year I've been moving on, and it's been difficult at times because I want to be settled. I want to obviously have a place that I call home, as well as outside of life, but also as a football sense. But I think it's a case of just really, as you say, resetting every season or every 6 months and going, how can I maximise this time? Yeah. I always set myself goals or targets that I write down every month or so, and reflecting back on them every 4 weeks is really a good way that I just keep grounded and go, right, what's the next target? Yeah. Where do I see myself in another couple of months' time? Otherwise I feel you keep rolling with it and you can never really get that sense of settledness. Whereas if I set them targets and reevaluate every season, then I don't feel like I necessarily need that consistent basis of a home, because I'm always striving for more, even though I can't be settled, if that makes sense.
You think it's more short-term goals for you then, more like short-term targets?
Yeah,
so it's manageable.
Obviously, I still set my long-term goals, but with the
You
way
know
it's gone,
the change.
yeah, exactly. With the way it's gone, I'm almost expecting a 6 months or a year stay.
Yeah.
So, as you say, if you can set them goals, for me, the way I am as a person, it works for me well.
Yeah, I can relate to that in the sense that I think since really young I've found out, especially in football, probably life in general, but in football things never really work out the way you'd hope them to. I think we all have a plan in our heads, or a way of things panning out that we really want, and we plan it all out in stages, and usually stage 1 goes wrong, and you've scrapped it all and you're back to square one. I think it's easy to spiral in those moments, you know what I mean? I think, oh well, I'm so far away from where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I think for me anyway, the same thing that I come back to all the time is, right, back to square one, put one foot in front of the other and get to work like I would have done if I succeeded. You know, it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah.
I think you're right in that sense, and we're probably similar in our journeys with that so far, having to sort of adapt all the time.
Can I just go off the back of that? When you talk about you setting your goals and you're doing your little kind of short-term things, how do you deal with that or find it if you don't hit those goals, or it's kind of, whether it be in or out of life, how do you deal with that? Because if you then don't hit them, do you then feel like you've underachieved as such?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think obviously you both know me well now to know that I'm very like routine based as well. So it's like, if for example I'm doing everything I can, maximising everything, that will be like I'm sticking to know what the process is. If I don't then achieve them goals, it's a bit like, well, I've done everything I possibly can to try to, and if I haven't achieved that, then I'm at peace, because I'm like, well, I've done everything I can. Yeah. If I haven't achieved them goals, it's not the end of the road. Right, let's set the next one. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cheers, young mate. We spoke a little bit about this yesterday in preparation for this, but I think we both think that you're a really like confident person, especially like football-wise in your ability, and there's never really moments where you look like nervous, not to blow smoke up your ass, but because confidence can come from a lot of different places. You just touched on preparation a little bit there, but where would you say your confidence mainly comes from?
I think you've mainly hit the nail on the head there. Is with my preparation, like it's a case of, I know throughout the week or whenever in the football sense, I've done everything I possibly can to be in the best shape I can for the game. So that's where the confidence comes from in that sense. But I think it's actually a mad one, because my inner confidence comes from my journey really. And throughout, it might seem like I've obviously started at a relatively good level, Chelsea, West Ham. But like, probably if you look at where I am now to where some of my friends are and stuff, I think in a way I've always like took a step back from there. So it makes that like you've got that inner confidence to go, no, I'm going to get back there. I think that's where it comes from. It's more like I haven't actually had maybe the success that I wanted up to this stage, and now I'm building myself hopefully back up to where I think I can get to. But it's like occasionally there's been times where I've been obviously told that you're too small, or you're not quite this, you're not quite that, and that's where that inner confidence comes to, maybe the I'll show you sort of thing.
Yeah, a bit of chip on your shoulder.
Yeah,
as well.
probably. Yeah, I think that's probably where it comes from. And also I just think, I often say, like, if I ever speak to you boys, like, I think the confidence has to come from yourself, because no one's going to give it to you. Do you know what I mean? You find a lot in football, there are a lot of people that put you down. Whereas if you can be the first one to be confident in yourself, I don't think anyone else is going to give you that. I think that's a key aspect really, but it probably just comes from, like you say, my footballing journey and where I've been from.
There's times this season where, like, I hope you don't mind me saying, but whether it's training or maybe a game, you've come to the pitch and gone, weren't the best today, was I?
Yeah.
And you're sort of like, you're able to detach yourself from it. Like some people would maybe say, oh, I didn't play best today, and look down, or like mopey, or maybe they'd take that into the next training session or game. And I don't think you really do that. You can sort of detach yourself and think, well, I wasn't good today, but I am good. Do you know what I mean? And you can move on from that, which I think is a skill that, like, especially in football where there's a game every 3-4 days, or training sessions every day, you can't really afford to be moping around. Do you think that's a big part of the confidence as well, being able to just detach yourself from a single performance, or, I don't know, a mistake or something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I like, it sounds mad, but like when I'm on the pitch or when I'm in training or something, if I'm very able to like detach myself from each moment. So like if I know I've had a bad, shocking, like if I miss a penalty for example, I might look fuming at the time, but the next one I'm actually okay. And the banter and stuff comes from myself knowing, if I'm honest with myself and I know I've been bad today, and that's okay. Like, I've got another training session tomorrow, I've got another game in a few days time to be good, and I back myself to be better than I was. But like, that's just me as a character. I think that comes back to what you said at the start, you know, how has that built me as a person? Like, I am I feel like I'm always having banter, you know, but I'm serious at the time. But like, if I can take the mick out myself, then that's good for me, because I don't take myself too seriously as well.
So, obviously you both have been quite a big part of my journey this year.
How good have you been since you've met us?
these take sole responsibility for any success I've had this year, anything at all, which is brilliant.
You didn't play forward
Yeah, so yeah, you two have been big for me, like Ant and Deck. If Ant and Deck battered each other all day and were horrible to each other, yeah, no, it's made me laugh, to be fair, and you've kept me good company. And I think more than anything for me this year, I've realised the importance of putting yourself out there a little bit, because particularly for me in a new environment, I find it easy to just, like, I get along with everyone pretty well, but I can find it easy just to sort of stay in my shell a little bit, maybe not look too like eager or, you know, desperate to make a friend in a new environment. And I think it got to a stage where I asked you both to come for a coffee, and you probably reluctantly came along. And then since then, you've probably reluctantly done more things than me. But
everyone else busy.
Yeah.
Neil makes me laugh though, because you know this is interfering, this is timing.
Such an idiot, mate. But you know that, and just that one thing of putting yourself out there a little bit has like turned into a lot more, and I've spent a lot of time with you, and obviously become a big part of it. How important for you is that social aspect? I know you touched on it earlier, but particularly like actually doing other things other than football related.
Oh, massively. Obviously, when I was younger, before I met my missus, actually, like I was very football, like all the time, 24/7.
The same, yeah.
Yeah, and it can. Obviously, it's fantastic when you're growing up and stuff, but at a certain point, you have to be able to switch off, and I learnt that quite early, which was good. And now, obviously, like we say, we go for coffee, go for food, do stuff with my missus. You need that switch off time, because otherwise it can get on top of you. It doesn't mean that you don't want to be better and you don't want to keep striving for more, and you don't. Football's not everything in your career. Of course it is, but there's that time when you come home and like stuff like you're doing now is brilliant. Just to like, it's not switch off, but just reset. You know, whether it be end of season, whether it be during the season, whether it be days off, just gives you that bit of breathing room just to focus on other things, that then you're refreshed going into training and games rather than everything being on top of you.
Yeah, I think sometimes like being on your own and relaxing isn't actually relaxing, because you can spend a lot of time on your own, and you know, you're thinking a lot, for me anyway, and probably you're similar. So yeah, like I think, like I said, getting out there and doing things socially is such an important thing for your performance on the pitch, as well as just being happier and more comfortable off it. What were your first impressions of me? And you can say what you like. When I first joined, before you sort of got to know me and got to know I was like a legend and that, what were your first impressions of me?
No, obviously getting to know you at the start, I obviously probably saw you as quite a reserved person, kept yourself to yourself. But I always thought, like, whenever we did speak, like it was someone I wanted to get to know, like quite, obviously for someone like me, I could always tell there was probably more going on than you were letting on with regards to what you were thinking. But quite intriguing, I'd say. So obviously, as our relationship built and stuff, I got to know you a lot more. Obviously, you make me laugh with like some of the comments you go to say, and your humour is very good at times.
Such a backhanded compliment.
No, but the main thing, mate, I've just been like, obviously, it sounds a bit patronising, but I'm not being patronising, you know that. But just to see how you've come out your shell within the group has been amazing for me to see, because we've seen the true version of you, if that makes sense. Like, up until recently, like giving experienced lads a bit of banter, like knowing that like they're not going to come back at you. Do you know what I mean? It's just been brilliant to see, and obviously us three have been like growing from strength to strength, and I've really enjoyed your company. But the more so, the biggest thing that I've been really impressed with, and I said to the lads as a football sense, is your resilience, mate. Like the stuff that you've gone through this season at times. Obviously, it's not easy, you know, being out the squad, being left out, but the ability to, which I saw in myself really, you know, like with the resilience side and the knowing that you are good enough to play, and the performances you've put in at times, I think that speaks volumes of not just you as a footballer, but as a person.
Thank you, mate, appreciate that. That's it from me. Youngie, have you got a little question for us?
Here we go.
I mean, for me, obviously, I think you have touched on it a little bit, to be fair, but I think from our time together, and obviously we lived together for 6 months, I think I've got a bit more of like an insight into your kind of routine, whether it be match days or just through the week, and I think like I've seen you be religious with it, like, and I know you've previously said that you've almost been too far the other way, like, and you've been too religious with it almost. Like, how did you find that kind of like sweet spot for you that's like gets you in a good place where you don't feel like you're too attached to the routine and that you can be thrown off if something goes wrong, but then having something in place that does help you, and how does it help you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like I am very routine based when it comes to match day and stuff. You are right, but I found that sweet spot in which that like there's certain things. Obviously, if you're at home, for example, and unless something goes drastically wrong, I don't know, like an emergency or something, you can control. So like the food, as best you can control your sleep and what you're drinking, things like that. It's basically stuff that I know that I can 100% control, like the food and drink, and like if I'm routines that I walk before a game, them things I'm very religious with and they won't change for nothing. But other things that I might do before that I've experimented with, like for example shots or whatever, different things, like beetroot shots, that I've experimented with, like trial and error. I might not stick to all the time. So it's like basically trying to find things that would work I know that do work, and then other things I'll just experiment with really. So it's like, because I spoke to someone about this actually like a little while ago, and they noticed I'm very routine based, and they were like, what happens if you turned up to a game or a training and that's not available, how would you react? And I sort of went like, oh, like shit, like I don't know. And that probably set me back a bit, and I was like, I need to tweak things in the sense that, exactly, or like say like the coach broke down before the game and you're not having, do you know what I mean? It's like, it shouldn't affect the way you're going to play.
Yeah. Like little things that I've noticed, like you will listen to the same song before you go.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're things that I like.
That Katy Perry one, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's a bit. I think it's a bit classical.
Classical, really?
Classical music.
Oh, I rate that.
So I just want to be chill before the game.
Yeah.
Whereas that's something I know, whatever happens, I can control that. Like 2 minutes, 3 minutes before I go out, I can put my headphones in, put the same song on, and it'll make me feel good. So yeah.
Kempy, that was a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Mate. Pleasure.
Cheers for that.
No problem.